Contestant number 4, 忠诚 back to nature. Contestant number 4, 忠诚 back to nature.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The title of my speech today is Back to Nature. An Irish poet by the name of William Butler Yeats once wrote in his poem, The Lake Isle of Industry. I will rise and go now and go to industry. In a small cabin built there, a flame and wait is made. 9 beavers will I be there, and a hive for the honeybee. And live alone in the big loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, a peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the veils of the morning to where the cricket songs. Then midnight saw the glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of linnet wings. When these lines first caught my eyes, I was totally attracted by this peaceful little isle. Even when I close my eyes, the bird linnet will take me to the place I'd never imagined before. We're in the very depths of nature, surrounded by the crystalline lake. Crickets, linnets, butterflies, these beautiful creatures are close enough to touch. To me, the poem not only presents an unforgettable scene, but also acts as a timeless reminder that we may go back to our Mother Nature's tender embrace. Today, we live in a world of prosperity, with a rapid development of science and technology. However, we are threatened by numerous problems. The greenhouse effect leaves islands and cities along the coast, such as Shanghai, in danger of being drowned. The holes in the ozone layers make the Earth less suitable to live for some creatures, including human beings. The phenomenon of El Niño and La Niña leaves the land with severe flood and drought, and the diseases caused by pollution are increasing at an incredible speed. All these appalling facts have brought us to the realization that we are not the master of nature, but we are just her little babies. Now every year, many local eco-environmental protection organizations are receiving donations, whether big notes, small notes, or even coins. And whoever donated them, say from housewives, plumbers, drivers, teachers, to children or even invalids. Some of these people are not afford to send money, but they do insist on the donation. These are the ones who drive the cabs, who nurse in the hospital, who teach at schools, who are suffering from ecological damage in their neighborhood. But why? Because they care. Because they still want their Mother Nature back. Because they know they still belong to her. In 2010, when I was just a middle school student, I represented my city, Ningbo, as a climate change awareness ambassador to participate in a camp named Climate Cool in Beijing. Students from all over the country gathered in order to call public's attention to protect our only nature. I remember it clearly that one day we watched a TED Talk video called My Green School Dream, given by John Hardy. John, who was born in a poor mountain village, did something amazing to repay the Mother Nature. After he retired from his flower business, he built a giant green school on Bali Island, which was entirely made of bamboo. The classroom has no walls. They use natural lights to replace the light bulbs. Even no electricity grids. It's extremely, extremely green. How amazing! What's more, local people follow his steps and build eco-friendly houses around the green school. They are also bringing their green industries, hopefully a green restaurant, to the green school. It gradually became a community, a green model which is perfectly eco-friendly and free from modern technology. By telling the story, I don't mean we should give a sudden stop to any development, because that will resound a threat to the existence of human society. I mean, we should respect our mother nature. And the development of human society and environmental protection can coexist. I'm so glad to find that now more and more people from every corner of this planet have come to realize that the harmonious natural is the only way to universal and continuous progress and prosperity. And no matter who we are, what we do, and where we go in our mind, there's always something worth our effort to protect it and fight for it. That is our nature, our planet, our earth. Thank you very much.
Thanks for contestant number 4's speech. Timer report.
This is the 4-minute report for contestant number 4, Zhongchen. 5 minutes and 43 seconds. Thank you.
1 minute silence. Contestant number 5, Zhou Keping, My Coffee Life. Contestant number 5, Zhou Keping, Coffee Life, My Coffee Life.
Hello, I'm Amy, the amazing Amy. Today my topic is my coffee life. So here's my story about coffee. Actually, I didn't like coffee in the first place. I sure love to squeeze a bag of coffee beans and enjoy that distinctive scent coming out of those tiny holes on the package. But when it comes to tasting it, oh, I often couldn't stand the sour and bitter taste that didn't match the wonderful impression it had already given me. I mean, it's like meeting someone in your dreams, but then soon found out he or she is married. Oh, everything is ruined immediately, isn't it? However, I will never forget that Sunday afternoon when my dad offered me a cup of fresh coffee he made. Guess some of you may have noticed that this was going to be a turning point in my life. And sure it was. Because the moment when I took a little sip reluctantly, somehow it completely changed my previous thoughts about coffee. Not slightly sour, not even bitter at all, but full of the aroma which the coffee beans possess. Suddenly, I realized that I was entirely wrong about coffee. Also, I felt completely in love with it. Isn't it so strange and magical that we can turn our minds totally upside down within just a moment? But what changes us? So with my willingness to solve a problem, and with my passion of making one outstanding coffee, I turned to one of the masters of coffee, my dad. As a matter of fact, My dad taught me every step and every detail of making coffee, from grinding beans to dripping coffee. And most important of all, the secret of making a superior cup of coffee lies in the temperature of the water. Of course, the quality of the coffee beans also matters, but it's the temperature that makes the water refines the very best of the beans. Here's something interesting, what my dad always says about coffee. Too high, too sour. Too low, no flavor. So if the temperature is too high, the coffee will end up being sour. On the other hand, if the temperature isn't high enough, the water can't enrich the flavor of the coffee. I think this is pretty amazing because it's like a slogan for us to memorize easily. And it's actually a little tip I like to share with you. So next time, get yourself a cup of coffee. Apply this tip. Too high, too sour. Too low, no flavor. And you are able to distinguish whether this cup of coffee is a professional one or an amateur one. In fact, I think my dad's pretty awesome, and I'm grateful to him because he not only shows me that all we need is keep practicing to achieve greatness, but also points out the major element that makes coffee magnificent. You know, it's an art to make coffee because a trivial change can make a lot of difference. So since then, coffee has become an essential part in my life. Every day, every morning, there's nothing more exciting than getting out of my cozy bed and make myself a cup of coffee. Trust me, in those chilly mornings, perhaps today, this daily routine is something that keeps me from getting late for school. So last, to tell you my philosophy of coffee and what it means to me. I guess what John Ruskin said is all this is about. When love and skill work together, expect a masterpiece. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for contestant number 5 speech. Timer report.
This is the 3 timers report for contestant number 5, 周可平, 5 minutes and 4 seconds. Thank you.
1 minute silence. Contestant number 6, Huang En-ling. The role not taken. The role not taken. Huang En-ling.
Two roads diverged in Yellowwood. I'm sorry I could not travel both. This line Robert Frost in the famous poem, The Road Not Taken, was exactly what happened to my family when I was at the age of 6. Along with 100 other families who chose to homeschool their children. By homeschool, it meant that while others were at school in the daytime, I spent 9 years at home, taught by my very own mother. Yes, it may sound like prison, but what made homeschooling an intriguing choice was it was a customized learning method. I decided my own schedule and I took responsibility for the outcome. However, it was an experimental decision, to be honest. Nobody knew how I would turn out, whether I would be the next Thomas Edison or simply nobody at all. I didn't have the chance to compare myself with others until I finally entered high school and ended my homeschooling life. I was doing well at first, but then one day, I found there was something different between my classmates and I. For example, when the class leader shouted, "Class, shut up! Shh! Everybody!" It was fixed in my mind, subconsciously. One day, I was just chatting with my friend, and I wanted to end the conversation. Guess what? I shouted, "Shut up!" to her. And by the look on her face, I could feel she was really offended. But worst of all, I didn't know how to explain myself why I did that. That embarrassing mistake tortured me for a really long time. At home, it was always my mom, my dad, and I. I never really knew how to act in a crowd of peers my age. The fear and shock was huge. Everything was so new to me. When you guys entered high school, you were so used to the social mode at school that it was almost too much, too sickening, right? But for me, there was so much to catch up with, and I found it too tiring. I lost myself. I wanted to go back to my old life with me and my books in my quiet home. I resented my parents who chose to homeschool me in the first place. They made me feel like a total failure. I wanted to run away. And I did. I ran away from home for the first time in my whole life just because they didn't understand my struggle. I have to thank my friends who were there during my hard times. My high school friends who understood my difficulties. My pals who are also homeschooled, who always stood by me. Your support is priceless, especially by coming today. Thank you so much. As I overcame the burden little by little, I found out that I kept focusing on what the choice took from me. I was so full of complaints that I overlooked the precious things it gifted me. If I ever have the courage to be myself, it would be because it was planted in my heart since I was being homeschooled. As I had only myself to compare with, I was able to look beyond criticisms, comments, status, etc. If I ever could be a brave girl who always knows where her heart lies, I have to thank the chances to be myself and talk to myself during the time being homeschooled. I've come to understand myself so thoroughly that I'm not afraid to be different. Facing the peers around you and the trends that changes non-stop every day, it's easy to lose oneself because no one wants to be left alone. But will I always be accompanied? Can I always follow the crowd? Someday, I have to go my own way and live my own life. As much as I love my family and friends, I have to stand here on stage alone today, don't I? Strong values that were built in my heart gave me strength to act independently when I have to, wherever I go. Homeschooling may not have brought me many achievements, but it certainly made me the person I'm proud to be. As much as I had so much confusion and struggle, if I had the chance to go back in time to the 6-year-old girl, my choice to be homeschooled would be the same. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I chose the one less traveled back. And that has made all the difference. Thank you.
Thanks for contestant number 6 speech. Timer report.
This is the Dick's timer's report. For contestant number 6, Wang Wenning, 5 minutes and 52 seconds. Thank you.
1 minute silence. Contestant number 7, Wu Boye, Hurricane Sandy. Hurricane Sandy.
Imagine living without electricity for a month. That's what I had to go through in 2012 when Hurricane Sandy struck the East Coast. Hurricane Sandy was one of the largest and most fiercest storms to ever hit New Jersey. It caused billions of dollars of damage. The storm was horrific. Days prior to the storm, my family spent days taping up windows, sealing every door, and stocking on food. I remember it was the second week of December, on a Friday, when it was announced a state of emergency, which meant no school, no work, and you weren't allowed to be on the road, or else you'd get fined by the state. During the afternoon, the bright skies gradually faded to cold gray, and the clouds of charcoal gathered together. The sun of gold was replaced by deep vastness. With a flash, heavens opened, and a wall of rain free-falled from the sky. Water emptied endlessly from the gray skies, and the grass was getting flooded. Yearly, yet expectedly, a popping sound came out of nowhere. Gunshot sounds and roaring were in the background due to 150-mile-per-hour winds knocking down trees. When I was about to turn on my favorite television show, Top, zap, all the electricity went out. I'm like, dang, what can I do now? I'm like, oh, my Mac is still fully charged. So I went to my Mac, went on Google Chrome, and searched up Food Network. And then the most demoralizing message popped up: no internet connection. My heart sank. And I quickly questioned, why is there hurricanes in the first place? Why does Hurricane Sandy have to hit New Jersey? Why am I such an unlucky person? I was pretty distraught for a few days. Not only because I didn't have internet, also because I had to take cold showers, wear 5 layers of clothing, and walking through the dark at night was pretty peaky. Also, I had to heat up things with the fireplace. Well, I guess it wasn't that bad because I got to eat a lot of s'mores, and s'mores are lip-smacking, yummy, gooey deliciousness. Looking back at Hurricane Sandy, I seriously overreacted. Many people had it much worse than me. My friends lost their homes, cars were suffocating underwater, and some even lost family members. And I'm here complaining that I can't go on Instagram and like all of Justin Bieber's Instagram photos. Even though insurance covered most of the damage, memories were stored in these homes. Many of my friends lost baby photos. Documents and important information on the computer were all gone. Since I lived on a hill, I overlooked the city. 2-story buildings became 1-story buildings. The field where I won state championship for baseball was gone. Looking at the damage, I was paralyzed by the surge of electricity that seared through my body. I wouldn't have changed my experience with Hurricane Sandy because I actually got much closer with my family. In the United States, we're taught to be independent from our parents. So if you want to do something you enjoy, you sign up first by yourself. For example, if you wanted to go to a good college, you signed up for SAT classes and drove there by yourself. Also, my parents worked in New York City. Leave home at 6, come back at 8. My sister, on the other hand, is a competitive ice skater, and right after school, travels from New Jersey to Delaware to get coached, and travels around the United States for national competitions. And me, on the other hand, I do a lot of orchestral things and travel around New Jersey and the tri-state area to play concerts and rehearsals. However, during Hurricane Sandy, there's no orchestra, no school, no work, no ice skating. We just caught up about the past few years about our lives, and we talked about our future. I was really touched how my family supported all my decisions and helped me if I had any issues along the way. Also, my town got much closer together. My town's kind of separated. So, for example, there's a part of town called Chindia, where only Chinese and Indians live at. And there's another part of town called Little Italy, where mostly Italians live at. And there's another part of town where mostly Muslims hang out at. However, during the hurricane, everyone came together, regardless of race, religion, gender, sexuality. Something this destructive can make us super tight. It was like we were a family. New Jerseyans are definitely a resilient bunch. This was by far the most humbling and terrifying experience in my life. I'm very blessed that my family is still here with me and unconditionally supportive of my decisions. The only damages done to my house were a few cracked windows. My deck was partially destroyed, but everything else was fine. If I didn't experience Hurricane Sandy, I definitely wouldn't have been the same person I am today. And I look at the world much differently now. And I guess living without electricity isn't that bad either. Yes, I'm not afraid of the dark anymore. Thank you.
Thanks for contestant number 7 speech. Timer report.
This is the 7th timer's report for contestant number 7, Wu Bohua. 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Thank you.
1 minute silence.